Early in 22, I noticed like, oh my God, like things are like my leg muscles aren't there anymore. Like, where did my calves go? Where did my quadriceps go? Where did my deltoids go? Where did my biceps go? Like, they were
gone.
There are lots of people where this is so complex, they get normal testing and they're dying. In reality, I think this is going to kill me. At some point, it's going to kill me. Talking to other people I know with the same symptomology and the same timeline, it's going to kill me.
Your organization has achieved a significant dent in vaccine mandates.
We didn't do the science. We didn't do the clinical trials. We didn't do the post safety. But one thing we know it's rare.
Hello, and thank you for joining us for another engaging episode of Shot Callers. My name is Carrie Bigford, and I am the Outreach Director with Texans for Vaccine Choice. And we cover a lot of different topics here on Shot Callers. And today we'll be diving into one person's story of vaccine injury. We hear about these stories, we see the numbers on VAERS, we see the numbers on vSafe. But the thing that can be easy to forget in all of those overwhelming numbers is that each one of those numbers represents a real person whose very real lives has been turned upside down and inside out because of their injury. And so today, I ask you to open your heart and welcome Mr. Mike O'Mara into it as he describes to us his story of vaccine injury after receiving 2 doses of the Moderna shot. Without further ado, thank you so much, Mike, for coming on our show today. I am deeply appreciative of your willingness to share your story with us.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to speak a bit about it. There's so many of us out there, and I can't say I'm happy to be here, because that would mean I'm happy for the reasons I'm here, but I am appreciative of the chance to get to speak about it. So thank you for having me.
Can you describe a little bit for us, what was your life like prior to receiving the Moderna shots? What was going on for you?
It was absolutely wonderful. I absolutely loved my life. Where to begin? A little bit of background about me. I'm a professional composer, writer, director, and performer. So my whole life was immersed in the creative arts. And before the pandemic and all the shutdowns and everything, my partner Vanessa and I lived in a different place. And I ran my own school, and she ran her own business, and we had a perfectly normal life. After the pandemic started and all the shutdowns and everything happened, my business was ruined because of that. And we decided to move to a different location. And shortly after we moved here, we both were vaccinated on the I won't say insistence, I will say coercion, and I will say the strong the pushing of doctors and friends and parents and everyone.
So you would say it was coercion and public pressure that led you to seek out the shot in the first place?
Yes. For me, I was not at all political. I tried to stay out of that because I have a lot of problems with all political parties, if I'm being perfectly honest. So I was kind of I don't know if you'd call me a libertarian, but I was kind of like a rights for everyone kind of guy, like just stay off my lawn and I'll stay off yours kind of guy. That's how I was. So this had nothing to do with politics for me. But my parents happened to be doctors. And so when everything kind of went down and the, COVID was, starting everywhere, they, were constantly on me saying, oh, we need a vaccine, we need a vaccine, we need a vaccine. And then when the vaccine was available, they were saying, oh, you have to get it, you have to get it, you have to get it. And like I said, I wasn't someone who was seeking out so-called alternative, philosophies of any of this stuff. I was raised to trust my parents. I was raised to trust people like doctors. My parents happened to be doctors. And so they were like, you have to get this. And, my private physician at that time was saying the same thing.
Right.
Oh,
That seems,
you have to get this. This is just the way it is. Blah 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 blah.
yeah, that seems very reasonable. Did anybody let you know of any potential adverse events or side effects that could happen as a result of the vaccine?
No, absolutely none. Never. No one. None.
Okay. Was it given to you at your primary doctor's office, or did you go to like one of the many vaccine mills that got set up?
Yes, it was one of the vaccine mills. The person who actually injected me, I think, was an army medic or something like that. It was
Wow.
it was done at a church that the state kind of took over, I guess, and there were like it looked like military medics or someone like that. You know, someone in camouflage was giving out the actual shot. So I don't know.
Did they keep you on site for a certain amount of time after the vaccine, or did they give it to you and then send you on your way?
No, it was 30 minutes. It was the customary 30 minutes. Make sure nothing happens to you, and then shuffle you out the door.
But no informed consent about what things they were looking for during that 30 minutes.
The only thing I remember, because now again, this was 4 years ago now. The only thing I remember is they said, "Oh, you might, some people have weird reactions and they pass out or something like that." But it was not, nothing was ever, certainly if anything was told to me like, "Oh, this might cause any number of a million of diseases," I would have said, "Okay, forget you guys," and walked back out the door. Like I was just a normal guy. I wanted to run my business. I wanted to keep teaching my students. I wanted to do what I love to do for the rest of my life. That's it. I had no stake in this. Had nothing.
And it sounds like you thought that the vaccine would be the pathway to normalcy.
I thought it was. I thought at that point that it was part of a pathway to normalcy. Yes, I mean, like everyone else, I didn't want to see anyone get sick. I didn't want to see anyone in my neighborhood or in my community get ill. I didn't want old people to die. I didn't want young kids to die. Like, of course I didn't. Like, that's how they got everyone. I mean, that's how they got everyone.
So after your first dose, did you have any adverse events you noticed then, or was it after the second dose? Like, talk to me about that process for you.
Yes. After the first one, I had some reactions, but they weren't nearly what started to happen after the second one. So after the first one, I can remember I felt immediately ill, like the typical flu-like thing that they say happens with every medication. So I remember it kind of put me in bed for 2 straight days or something like that, and I felt super, super sick. And because like I said, my parents are doctors, I was like, what the heck is this? Like, what's going on? Because before this happened to me, I was not a sickly person. So I have no family history of serious disease. I had no personal medical history of any disease. The only thing that was wrong with me before all this happened is I was probably 10 pounds overweight. I mean, I was the kind of person where, like I said, I ran my own business. I taught literally dozens of students a week. I taught piano and voice lessons and songwriting lessons. I wrote shows, I wrote plays and musicals. And I would work, I don't know how many hours a week. I was constantly working. And then I'd also take a hike at night, or I'd also work out every single day. I mean, like, I was a healthy person. I was able to do all this, my whole adult life up until that point, and there was nothing wrong with me at all. So when I got the first, vaccine, and I was immediately like ill, I was like, oh, this is something
this
serious.
is not
like,
normal, right?
This is a big deal. So, you did what everyone did. You kind of went online and was like, whoa, I got this, if you look back, it's really, I mean, it's one of the many things that are so sad looking back now. But if you look back at social media posts from 4 years ago, when everyone was getting the shot, everyone has a post or two that says the same thing. And I remember everyone that was my friend at that time had a post that said the same thing as me, where they would write, like, oh, just got the shot, and oh my God, I'm so ill, I'm so sick.
Yeah,
I'm
that's a
in bed.
doozy. Right.
Right, exactly. Everyone did. And I had, and I was ignorant. I had one of those posts too, right? And so I talked to my doctor and I talked to my parents. I said, "What the heck is going on?" And of course, what did they say? "Oh, that's just, that's what it's supposed to do. You're having a strong reaction." Like, "Oh, good for you."
It means that
right?
it's working.
Yes,
right?
exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what I was told. Actually, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, that, the stronger the reaction, that means that now you've got, like whatever your superpower or whatever.
Right.
So that happened after the first one, and of course there was. I mean, at that point, because like I said, for me, this had nothing to do with politics. It had nothing to do with like social, like whatever, making a statement. It was just.
I would say it's still not political. It's
well,
a human issue.
I think it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. I think sadly it is. It should be a public health consideration and nothing else. But sadly, it has become politicized on both sides, I think. But that's neither here nor there. I didn't have any other information given to me other than what I just said. So everyone said, "Oh, good for you. You've got super immunity now. Keep on trucking. Go for the second one. Good for you. Blah blah blah." Right? And again, because they had closed everything, because they had closed businesses, because they were making you, because you were basically shut out of society unless you showed your vaccine card and unless you were like part of the team. I didn't have any other information, and I didn't have anyone else in my life at that time saying like, "Well, hold up. Like maybe this is a bad sign. Maybe you should wait and see how your body reacts over the next few weeks or whatever." No, there was none of that. It was just go get the next one as soon as you can.
So you got the next one.
Right. So I suffered through that first reaction. That was a couple days, and then thankfully it went away for a while. And so I was like, okay, maybe it was just a doozy, like they said. Maybe that's just what you're supposed to do. So I went and I got the second one, and then within a couple weeks of getting the second one, the first really serious things started happening, like things that kept me from living how I was living up until that point.
What were those initial things that started happening? Like what helped you realize that like this is not normal?
Well, the first things that happened were really terrible gastrointestinal problems, like really, really terrible. So like I said, I used to be someone who I would take a hike every day, or I would hop on the treadmill every day. I would, be outside. I loved to walk in the forests around our neighborhood. I loved to, walk around lakes. I used to take super long walks, and I have no problem being outside for a long time. Suddenly, that was not an option, because the second I started to do any kind of physical activity, my stomach would really, really, really start hurting, and I'd have to find a bathroom like right away. Like it was a problem. And I had no history of these kinds of problems, not nearly to that extent. It was like something broke in me like immediately, and it went from like 0 to 100. So I went from having none of these problems to like I couldn't digest food. It would like everything hurt all the time. Like it didn't matter what I ate. It didn't matter what I did. And those were the first problems that happened like very shortly after I got the second dose. Did you
suspect that was a result of the COVID vaccine you received, or did you? Okay.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It was months and months until I realized what it was from. And it wasn't until I was shown so much research by so many different doctors who said, they were the ones who told me like, your symptoms and your problems, they don't make any sense other than to put it in the context of
the vaccine injury.
It was misplaced, immune response by my body caused by the vaccine.
Yeah, like you had an immunological bomb go off inside of you.
Correct. Right.
Yeah.
So I had those really bad GI problems starting right away, and those just kept on persisting and persisting. And then with that, I started having pain. That at first
just
was
generalized body pain.
No, at first it was localized in my lower back, in my lower right back, and it would not go away. And I thought, certainly, like I thought maybe I stretched it. Like I don't know, it was a sprain or something, maybe, of course. And then everyone's like, "Oh, you're getting older." I'm like, I'm not that old, And plus it was, like I said, I was someone who worked out all the time and did all these hikes all the time. That you don't go from that to immediately like having a problem like that. Right. But it hurt so much that I couldn't sleep. and my partner and I, we got a new bed. We changed the mattresses. I changed up my workout routine. I did tons of stretches. I did yoga. I did, everything. But the pain kept growing, right? And so then it went from localized in my lower right back to it kind of spread up, and then it spread down. So it went up the rest of my back and into my neck and into my shoulders, and then it spread out into my limbs. And then as the months went on, it just kept hurting and hurting and hurting. Along with that, it was like something exploded in my brain, and I started having massive, like what I thought at first was anxiety problems, but it was like some kind of neurological like explosion, like something went off in my head, and suddenly my heart was going super fast all day and night long, like without any stimulus, without any way to calm it down, without any way to shut it off. It was going, 80, 90 beats a minute when I was laying down flat. And then I would stand up and it would go to 110 when I just stood up, but then it wouldn't ever go down, ever.
That sounds like POTS.
Yeah. Well, later I was actually diagnosed with POTS, but I didn't know that, of course, at first. Right. So, so the heart stuff started going on, and the massive anxiety stuff. I mean, the only way I could explain it is like a bomb went off in my brain. And I couldn't sleep at all. I would get like an hour's worth of sleep, and then the pain would wake me up, or my heart would wake me up, or both. And then I would toss and turn and get another 30 minutes here, another 30 minutes there. But it went on and on and on and on like that.
That sounds like it has affected a lot. Has it affected your work? Are you able to continue to work?
No, I haven't been able to work in 3.5 years.
Wow. So 6 months, 6 months after your vaccine, you were disabled and not able to work.
Yes, absolutely. Because what happened was these things kept combining. So symptoms kept piling on. So it went from just the GI stuff all day long to the GI stuff and the anxiety and the heart all day long to then early in the next year. So this is early 2022. I noticed that the muscle on my body was dissolving. It was missing. It was leaving my body.
That must have been so scary.
It was, and it is. It continues to be, and it will be. So I wasn't. So like I said, I wasn't like a bodybuilder, but I was someone who worked out all the time, right? So
you were a healthy, active guy.
I knew what my body looked like, and I've always been a larger guy, so it's somewhat harder to explain to people when I'm like, my body is wasting away. They're like, no, you're lying, you're crazy, you're like whatever, right? And they call me, well, there's so much to the story, I don't even know where to go with you, but essentially, I know what my body looked like. I know what my body was made of, and I know what happened to me, right? So early in 22, I noticed like, oh my God, like things are like, my leg muscles aren't there anymore. Like, where did my calves go? Where did my quadriceps go? Where did my deltoids go? Where did my biceps go? Like they were gone. And then I started getting other neurological signs of serious neuromuscular disease. So along with the pain that I said was from the beginning, I noticed that the pain in my back correlated, when I rubbed my back, I was like, oh my God, there's no muscle there anymore. Like, no wonder why it hurts all the time. It's trying to, like, my back is trying to hold me up and hold me up straight, and it can't do it anymore. That's why it hurts.
Yeah.
It hurts because there's nothing there. And I took photos and video of all this, and I took tape measure, of my muscles, and I started like, keeping track of it. But of course, everyone called me crazy. Everyone. My own
Were you
family.
ever able to find medical care that could help you thus far?
No,
what has that journey been like?
No, they can't help this. But it's, it's a long story, but my partner and I went through I mean, at least a year from that point of everyone calling me crazy. Basically, everyone trying to encourage her to abandon me, like everyone else did.
I'm so sorry.
Doctors put in
So when you say everyone else abandoned you but Vanessa, what does that mean?
That means I used to have, like I said, I ran my own business. I did shows. I ran my own school. I knew a lot of people. I helped a lot of people. I taught a lot of people. I got a lot of people into college, into grad school, into the jobs they wanted. I was a teacher. I was a teacher, mentor, director, all that kind of jazz, right?
Yeah.
All of those people, the second I said anything about the complexity of what I was dealing with and the fact that doctors have told me, yeah, this has something to do with the vaccine. The second I said that, they all left. And half of them have said horrible things, lies about me online since, that I'm apparently crazy.
I'm so sorry. That must have been so hard to bear. Like, I don't even have the words to describe how much pain that must have brought you.
Yeah, and it still brings me that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's.
What about your family? Has your family accepted you? Oh.
No.
So your vaccine injury cost you your life.
Yes.
The life that you knew before.
Yeah.
And everyone that you loved in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Except for my partner, who is a hero. She's a hero. Because
that's real love.
Yeah. Because everyone told her, everyone would rather she just, leave me too. I mean, my own father hasn't said a word to me in 3 years. I mean, my own sibling has participated in groups online that are set up solely to harass and abuse me.
What do you think would drive people to engage in such cruelty?
I think that this whole situation has become a misplaced type of religion for some people.
Mm.
I think that people don't want to believe, and they can't believe because it's too terrible.
Yeah, it's too painful for them to accept the reality.
They can't believe that the government would lie to them.
Yeah.
They can't believe that the medical system would lie to them. They can't believe that a medical product would do something like this. Because if they admit that it can, then they have to admit that they are susceptible to that kind of terror too.
Right.
That it could happen to them.
I think that's a very astute answer, Mike. I've been in this space for 2.5 decades as an advocate now, and the story you're telling of gaslighting and abandonment is, I am heartbroken to say, it's very common, and I am so sorry that has happened to you. What else has this cost you beyond your profession and your family and your friends and your life? What does your day-to-day life look like now?
It's very limited. It's very scary. It's very painful.
Yeah.
I've tried all I could to get better. I've tried every single protocol. I've tried every single treatment I could get to.
How much have you spent out of pocket? Because you've gotten no financial assistance from the government or the manufacturer of the product, correct?
None. Zero.
So any of your treatments have come out of your own pocket. How much has that cost you, would you guess?
It cost me all the savings I had set up for retirement. It cost me everything that was in my bank account. Everything. If I tried to put a guesstimate on it, I've probably spent $80,000. Yeah.
Wow.
Probably.
And none of it has helped.
No.
Were you able to submit your injury to VAERS or CICP yet, or did you just decide not to bother?
I did, and then they never called me back. And then at the time, I realized, I should have gotten something back from them. I was so sick. I was so weak. People in this situation, people that are severely injured in this situation, like we really
can't.
we need advocates. Like we need people.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry to say it, we're not lazy. Most times I literally can't, I can't do anything anymore.
It seems sad that you would use the word lazy, and it seems like a more appropriate word is that you're fighting for your own survival on a daily basis.
Well, yeah,
and that
I am.
Fight requires all of your energy.
I'm not saying that I believe that I'm lazy. I have never been a lazy person my entire life, which is why feeling helpless is it's disheartening and disgusting to me. Like I hate, more than anything, I hate not being able to help myself. I hate not having the power to know what to do. I hate not knowing if there is anything that would even help at all. Right. I've been seen by 42 different doctors at this point.
Wow.
over the last almost 4 years, and none of them have the slightest clue of what to do. The best ones will be honest and say, I'm sorry, I don't know. They will say, this is too complex. I don't know what to do. And a lot of them just gaslight and dismiss you.
Yeah. That seems like it would be very, very painful to bear and infuriating.
Yes, all the above.
Like when you were talking about people creating accounts, and I know that you had such an issue with online cruelty that you lost your own personal name on your social media, and you had to create new accounts because those people had been so cruel. What would you like to say to those who question your injury? Like I've seen so much documentation that you've provided. How?
I would just like to know, what's the motivation? How does that make you feel better?
Right.
To pile on people who are suffering and call them liars.
Right.
And also what do they think I'm gaining if they think that I am lying?
Right.
If they truly think that I'm lying about all the things that I've provided evidence for again and again and again and again online.
I've seen it all. You've provided a lot of evidence.
If they truly think I'm lying, I'd like them to answer me, what do they think I'm gaining from it? Because I lost my entire family. I lost my business. I lost my reputation because people lie about me constantly 24/7. People that used to tell me they love me, who I taught for 15 years, who I got into college and grad school and jobs for them. These people spread lies about me now. People in my own family, all of my cousins, all of my nieces, nephews, aunts, uncles, everyone who's still alive in my family basically hates me now. So what do I have to gain by lying about this? Am I running for political office? No, I'm not. Am I some celebrity trying to get clout and followers? No, most of my things are on private because if I post anything public, I get attacked. So what exactly does it benefit me to quote unquote lie about my illness and my disease that has been documented by several medical specialists now in multiple states, in multiple teaching hospitals? How am I lying about all of this? I don't understand. I don't understand what they're...
sorry that has happened to you.
I mean, I could show you. I
don't deserve it. I've seen it. You've sent it. I've seen it. You've posted it online. You've been very transparent in all of your medical documentation. There is no doubt in my heart anywhere that this is not a real and serious injury that happened as a result of the vaccination. And I have seen injuries like this before.
And like I said, it wasn't my idea. I didn't wake up one day and say, "Oh, this is vaccine. I'm going to go on a crusade against the vaccine." No, like I said, I had nothing against the vaccine. If I did, I wouldn't have taken it. I was the son of two doctors who said, "Get the vaccine." So I said, "Okay, what do I know? I'm an artist. I'm a teacher. I wasn't a doctor. I'm not a scientist. I never said that I was." Right? So this is not some political campaign. This has nothing to do with any kind of personal philosophy. It has to do with the truth. It has to do with a public health crisis that is happening right now to people who were just normal people, who just wanted to live our lives, who just wanted to get back to normal, who just wanted to do the right thing. That was me, and that was thousands and thousands of other people.
I would even say millions. Like I've seen the injury
Well, I'm just
data.
talking about the people that I've spoken to myself.
Yeah.
The stories of people I know that have this muscle wasting kind of phenotype, subtype of this post-vax disease. There are dozens of us.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry to say, but the first 40 years of my life, I knew two people that died, and they were both my grandparents. And since this happened, I've met other people like me. I've known a dozen people who are dead now, who had the same thing that I have, and they were younger than me. It's disgusting what's happening, and people call us liars. How could you do that?
I share your lack of comprehension. I do not understand, other than your previous response of the reality that you present to them is too threatening to their worldview. And so they have to, assassinate your character so that they can protect their existing worldview, because it's too challenging to let go of that idea that everything is okay and that it's safe to trust the public health authorities and it's safe to believe what they tell you, and that you're, a 1 in a million super rare occurrence, right?
Which, by the way, even if I was 1 in a million, shouldn't the public be aware that 1 in a million people have a horrible disease that can't be cured because they got a vaccine?
I would agree. Yes.
I mean, think of it. I mean, I tell people.
Remember during the lockdowns when we needed to stay in our homes and isolate ourselves from our loved ones, because if we could save one life, it would be worth it. But now that so many lives like yours have been ruined, completely decimated, all of a sudden we're back to the callousness and the argument of the greater good.
Right. And if you look at it from a public safety perspective, if there's any other product, right, that fails and kills someone or maims someone, they take the product off the market. If a car breaks down, if a car has a problem with its brakes and someone gets in an accident and kills someone, immediately they take that car off the market. They recall all the cars like it, right?
Yep, they do.
Somehow, how much evidence is there now about these vaccines, and we still can't even admit it? We still can't even say it out loud.
Yeah.
Vaccines
are a very unique product because they're the only product that's recommended that has zero consumer protections. Whether you get a vaccine on the childhood schedule or whether you get an EUA vaccine under the PrEP Act like you did, the recipient themselves is the sole guarantor of all legal and physical risk. And there is no other recommended, certainly medical intervention that has those stipulations attached. And it infuriates me how little that's talked about when they're talking about giving vaccines to real or potential recipients. Most people find out, as you found out, after the fact, that they have no legal recourse, that their pathways for help are very limited.
Right.
What would you like to say to those who question vaccines in general?
Who question them?
Yeah, who question vaccines in general, who are curious about, should I get this vaccine or not? Is the program safe? Is it something that could have benefit for me? Like, in your experience, what would you say to those who are kind of on the fence about their vaccination choices?
Well, I will say a couple of things. Number one, I will say, first of all, I'm not a scientist. I'm not a doctor, right? So I will say to anyone who is not a scientist and not a doctor, just be aware that what you don't know can kill you, and that no one is going to go out of their way to educate you or to tell you any of these potential risks. So it should be your choice what you decide to put in your body. But just know that if you haven't been exposed to all the research, no one's going to do that job for you. And then later they're going to blame you if something happens to you that you were ignorant of. And I think that's entirely unfair. And frankly, I think it's medical cruelty, really. I think that that's cruel. And I'm never going to, I would never tell, I'm even now, right? I'm not going to say, I would not go and shame people or say, don't get any vaccine ever, or don't, whatever. Like, because again, I'm not a doctor and I'm not a scientist and I'm not the parent of someone else's kid, right?
You don't get to choose for someone else. That's their
And
own individual choice.
I don't
right?
get to, and I don't want to, right?
Same.
So I would say, look, just do your due diligence, do your own research, because no one's going to do it. No one's going to help you in this. And if something happens, like you said, you're on your own.
You're
completely on your own. And if it's one of these newer vaccines, these mRNA experimental gene therapy vaccines, like the one I got, they don't even know what to do if something happens to you. This is way too new. I'm telling you, the top doctors, the top neurologists at the top teaching hospitals in this country have told me they have no clue what to do with me. They have no idea. And these are doctors who I believe really do care. They want to see people get better, and they are horrified at what they are seeing, but there's nothing they can do, because this was way too new. They don't have the formula. The people who made this, who did this to the world, haven't been brought to justice. They haven't been forced to give up the goods as far as how they made these things. So they don't know how to unmake them. They don't even know if they can be unmade. And that's horrific. It's horrific to suffer this way and have doctors say, I don't know what to do.
It's a terrible burden to be a medical mystery. It seems like it makes a good TV show, but nobody in real life ever actually wants to be a medical mystery.
No, it's horrific.
I would agree. What do you think your future holds?
In reality?
Yeah, in reality. Please be real with me.
In reality, I think this is going to kill me. At some point, it's going to kill me. It's going to, based on all all I can go off is all the most recent research, right? So based on the most recent information I have from doctors and specialists and all the research that I've read, and then based on talking to other people I know with the same symptomology and the same timeline, it's going to kill me. It's going to either get to the heart eventually, or it's going to get so far into the brain eventually that it will cause a stroke, or it will cause a heart attack.
How can you bear that every day? I mean,
because I have no choice. Once you are in this situation,
how does your partner bear it? I mean, oh my goodness.
Because she has no choice. She's the strongest person I've ever met. She's a hero. But all she can do is keep the house going and keep our dogs healthy and keep going grocery shopping for us and make sure that I'm still breathing a couple times a day. Like, that's literally all she can do. What is she supposed to do? Like, we're not superheroes. We're human beings. We're human beings who just wanted to live a normal life. That's it.
And then it took a very unexpected turn.
Correct.
Yeah.
And there's nothing, and people will, and people get mad at me online all the time, because I'm not going to shut up about this now.
Nor should you.
I'm not going to speak anything but the unvarnished truth. And that's just the truth. The truth is that I have met dozens of people like me with the same symptomology and the same timeline. And we have been talking since the beginning of this nightmare. All of us had to find each other online and compare our labs and compare our photos and realize, like, oh my God, you're wasting too. I'm wasting too. Look at my arm, look at my leg, look at my back, look at my labs, because no one else cared. Because our families didn't care and our friends didn't care and everyone called us crazy. So we had to find each other. And the truth of the matter is that I have known several people now that are dead. They're dead. And they died of this or that, and the doctors are baffled, of course, and they said, oh, atypical this, atypical version of that disease. But that's just the truth. The truth is they got this vaccine, they started wasting away, and eventually they died. Either they had a heart attack, or they had a stroke, or they had, something happened. And that's just the truth. I don't know any other way to say that. So what's going to happen with me? The same thing. One day, all the people that get online to see what I posted so they can make fun of me, they will see that I'm not posting anymore, because I will be gone from this. Unless a literal miracle happens, literally, unless a literal medical miracle happens and some doctor somewhere figures out how to reverse the gene therapy that was done to me. There's no other way out of this. And that's not just me being negative. That is every doctor I've spoken to, every specialist I've spoken to. My current neurologist, who is my 11th neuromuscular specialist, because the other 10 don't know what the hell they're doing. Excuse my language.
No, it's fair.
But my latest one says this is probably some kind of mitochondrial disease caused by the vaccine. And there's no cure. There's no treatment. There's nothing. There's nothing they can do.
For those that don't know, the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell.
Right.
So what Mike is talking about is that his very cells are dying off because
Correct.
the mitochondria can no longer create.
Again, that's not me making something up because I'm being whatever. That is a neuromuscular neurologist said that's what they think. That's what they think is going on based on my labs and my findings that have already been medically proven over and over and over again.
Yes.
So what else am I to think except reality? This is what happens to people who get mitochondrial disease out of nowhere because of a vaccine, because the spike protein won't stop.
Yeah.
My levels are still over 20,000.
Wow.
Yes. 4 years.
4 years since your last dose, and you're still over 20,000.
Correct.
That was higher than it was ever supposed to be in the first place.
Of course it is. Yes. And it's never gone down. I've had it tested. I've been lucky enough that in the 42 doctors that I found a couple that actually know what the heck is going on, and they've ordered the right tests over the years. So I have the proof over the 3.5 years that it's never gone down because I get it rechecked every 6 months. It's never gone down ever. It doesn't matter what protocol I do. I've done every single protocol, every alternative healing, every single thing that I could possibly do. You name it online, I've done it. And I'm not saying that those healers and doctors and everyone online doesn't care. I don't think that they're trying to lie to people. I think that they're trying. But I think that for some of us with these severe phenotypes of this post-vax disease, there is simply nothing you can do.
Yeah,
there's no way back.
The batches varied heavily because the EUA allowed for a lot of batch variants and there was nobody checking anything.
Yes, correct.
So we don't even really know what was in each individual batch because they were allowed to play with the formulation with each new lot.
Correct.
And so some people got very quote unquote bad. They were all bad batches, but they got much more reactogenic batches than some other ones. And I agree with you. The people that I've met that got the more reactogenic batches are struggling or dead. Right.
Also because it was because it dealt with DNA manipulation, everyone's DNA is different. Yep. So, for instance, myself and my partner, we went on the same day. We got the same batches of the same thing. And thank God she doesn't have the type of problems that I do. Right. Not to say she didn't have any problems, but she doesn't have the problems like I do. We got the exact same batches. So how do you explain that?
Right.
The only
biochemistry is complex.
Is DNA.
Yep. Biochemistry is complex.
Right.
Humans are very complex.
And they don't know what to do because of this. They have no idea what to do. And there's so many people. There's so many people I know that are bad off like I am, and they're getting normal testing coming back. Like I have several bad tests, right? So I have 6 bad EMGs that prove nerve damage. I have small fiber neuropathy proven on biopsy. I have POTS proven on tilt table test, blah, 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 blah. I have hundreds of bad labs, right? They still don't know what to do with me, but at least I have, the proof or whatever. There are lots of people where this is so complex, they get normal testing and they're dying. These people, I've known people who I knew a woman. She was my friend. We talked about this. She was diagnosed as having ALS, and she died of ALS. They put ALS on her medical records. Well, she was talking to me a couple months before she died, and they gave her a test that is supposed to, quote unquote, prove whether you have ALS. And she was clean a couple months before she died. So she didn't have ALS. She had something that mimicked ALS. And guess what? All of her symptoms started after the vaccine. And no one is looking into this. No one looks into this.
There are many that are, but the barriers are intense and none of them have official capacity. And the challenge of seeking legal justification and legal accountability has been one of the greatest challenges of my life thus far.
Mm-hmm.
I've been very blessed to be a part of several initiatives seeking accountability through the legal system. And the barrier of the PrEP Act
Mm-hmm.
is intense. I don't even fully have the language to describe how much it's not for you, the intervention recipient.
Yeah.
You are 100% left out to dry. You are engaging in a risky experimental right to try intervention.
Right.
And that's never disclosed to you when you receive one of them.
Right.
But that is the level of, the lack of evidence supporting the claims that are being made for that intervention. I mean, the PrEP Act is so much worse than even the NCVIA, and the NCVIA of 1986 isn't great for recipients either. But the PrEP Act of 2005 is it's terrible.
They made us all literal lab rats where we have no rights. We have no right of
no right of refusal.
Right, exactly. That's what I was about to say. Yes, and no legal right to fight.
Yep.
For any accountability should something happen to us, even when it's proven, even when multiple doctors from their own accredited universities say, yes, this is exactly how you got this disease. We don't know how to fix it. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do. And because I'm not quote unquote disabled enough yet, I can't even get disability in my state. They refuse it because they say you need a specific diagnosis that they won't give me
because they don't know.
Because my disease is too complex.
Yeah.
Because it's too complex and atypical. I have like 6 different diagnoses right now. They can't agree.
Yeah. You are not the first person that I've met who has that issue with disability, where they're clearly disabled and unable to function or care for themselves anymore. But because they don't have the proper ICD-9 or ICD-10 code, their cases are being dismissed and discarded because they can't get a singular umbrella diagnosis to cover everything. Yeah.
Right. Because it's not one diagnosis that the doctors agree on. They won't do anything for you. Nothing. And I'm telling you, and I'll bring her on before we're out here, because you have to see the face of my hero, my partner Vanessa. But if it was not for her kindness, I'd be dead. I'd be dead. I physically, when I go out, when I try to go out somewhere, like even to like grocery shop or whatever, my body like shuts down. The only way that I'm talking to you right now is because I loaded up on some caffeine, so I had some energy, and I'm leaning on my table right now because my body can't hold me up. And people say, "Oh, you're mad enough to talk or like whatever, so you must not be sick." Like I don't know how to deal with these people anymore. Like it's just like my grandmother right before she died talked to me too. She had cancer. Does that mean she wasn't sick because she was able to say that cancer sucked? Like, no. Like people who are ill can still be angry about it. We still have emotions. We're fighting.
And I would say your anger is justified. Like I would say your anger is justified. And I am so sorry that you're one of the lives that was destroyed by the vaccine. I'm so sorry.
It's not your fault.
I know, but
talk to the government.
It's terrible. I do talk to the government.
I know you do. I know you do.
Yes. I mean, everything I can do within my own personal sphere to try and correct these wrongs, I'm doing. And that brings my heart peace. But it's still, I guess the hardest part for me to bear with you is the loss of your family, the loss of your future and your dreams.
Yeah.
And the cruelty that people have displayed to you feels unconscionable, that they would. And I've seen it so much that it's just heartbreaking. It never is okay to witness victims, because you're an injured victim. You didn't ask for this. This isn't your fault. You got an unlucky batch and your body reacted negatively, and that's a terrible tragedy.
Yep.
And witness the callousness of people who've forgotten their humanity and treat you like something less than human.
Yeah.
I just can't. I just can't.
I wish I could understand. I wish I could understand the thought process that goes behind hating someone who's already suffering simply because they are crying out to the world to understand what happened to them. All I've ever wanted to do was to document what happened to me, because I don't want anyone else to suffer nearly this much. Like, I think it is inhumane to sit back and potentially allow any other human being to suffer like this if I have anything to do about it, right? If I can take pictures and video and take all my labs and all my doctor's notes and all my clinical tests and post them online, even though I'm going to get scrutinized and everyone's going to tell me I'm lying somehow, everyone's going to say I'm whatever, it's better to do that in my mind than to just sit here and die and take it silently, because someone might see all my evidence and might say, oh my God, this is happening to me, or this is happening to my loved one, or I need to talk to my doctor, or I need to make sure that the next thing that I put in my body, I research.
Reminds me of that Robert Frost line, "Rage against the dying of the light."
Right. That's all you can do. I mean, you asked me before, like, how do you do it, or how do you deal with it? Like, the answer is, when you have no choice, that's all you can do. That when you have no other, I guess
you do it because you must.
Right. I guess I could just shut up, like all these people want me to, right? I could just shut up and lie in bed until I literally die. That's my only other choice. If I could do anything normally like I used to in my life, believe me, I would. I don't want to be online talking about how I'm dying. I want to be living my life. I deserve the rest of my life. My partner deserved me to have the rest of my life, and she deserved the rest of her life with me. And it sucks. And it's so many things I can't say because you try to be a family friendly program, but it's not.
No, it's
purely.
It's not okay.
It's purely inhumane to allow it to continue and not to keep screaming about the fact that it's happening. And I don't care. I don't care how many people say I'm a liar. I'm going to keep telling the world what happened to me until I can't do it anymore.
Same.
That's all I can do.
I am no longer interested in other people's opinions of what I'm doing in the world. I know why I'm doing it, and I'm going to continue to do it.
Right. Yeah. You have to, because how could you live with yourself if you didn't at this point?
So how can people follow you and offer you support? Do you have social media accounts that they can follow? I know that you don't have a Give, Send, Go or a GoFundMe.
Well, I did.
People want to find you.
Right. I did have a GoFundMe a couple of years ago, and these trolls got it taken down. So what they did was they made a parody GoFundMe and started ripping people off using my pictures. And then they said that I did it, and they said that I stole all the money, and it was disgusting. It's disgusting what these people have done to me. So anyways, long story short, I don't have any fundraising because when I do, all these trolls and accounts come out and say, oh, look, see, he's only doing it for money or whatever. So I just don't do it anymore. Like I said before, I have a YouTube channel with my music from before I was poisoned. So if people want to show me any support, I mean, it matters so much to me that anyone would care about some nobody who used to write songs and shows and things like that. So if people want to check under my real name, Mikeomara, all one word, Mike O'Mara, that's my YouTube channel. They can leave a comment on any of my songs. If they like any of the things, they can share it. That raises my spirits immensely. If they want to converse with me directly, they can't use my real name because, of course, they ruined my accounts. They got me kicked off of X. They got me kicked off of Facebook. They got me kicked off of Reddit. They got me kicked off of everywhere where I told the truth. So now I am on secondary accounts under different names. So they can find me on Facebook at Slowly Fading, SLOWLY space FADING. And on X, my username on X is Slowly Dying, MRNA, all one word. That's me. I have no medical evidence to the contrary. I mean, what do you?
I know. It's
I don't know
just,
what else. I don't know what else to say about that at this point. It just
know.
it is what it is.
It's just, for our listeners who are watching, this is a real person. And if you're online and you see cruelty happening, please protect these injured people.
Yes.
If it were you and you were a victim of a medical intervention that was taking your life away, how would it feel to have that cruelty aimed at you? And I encourage you to consider that and keep your humanity intact as you engage with these injured people. They are real people and they have real lives that have forever been changed. I want to thank Mike so much.
Can I bring Vanessa up here?
Yes, please bring Vanessa. I would love to see Vanessa.
You should say hi to this person who is my hero. All of our dogs are going crazy because they love her. They're following her, but she's going to say hi.
Hi, Vanessa.
See, she's real too.
Yes.
Sitting
real
over there
people.
this whole time. Yep.
Real people doing real things, trying to help their real loved ones. Yep. Thank you, Vanessa, for believing Mike and being his support and keeping him earthside and doing what I could only imagine to be unimaginable suffering on the daily.
Yeah, it is. It's been
lots
of bad and
lots of hard.
He gets jealous.
It's okay.
Our dog is jealous as she's talking to you.
Yeah,
it's all right.
So it's been really hard, and the online hate is probably one of the hardest things to deal with. I mean, the dying part, of course.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, buddy. Apologies for that.
No, you're fine.
Okay.
Thank you so much for sharing your story. Thank you so much for being willing to let us have this glimpse of your lives and what has happened to it. We will all be praying for you. I will continue to do the work that I've been doing offline, trying to find help for you. That's not going to stop. So I will continue to do that. And hopefully that will yield results that work for you. If you're watching, thank you for watching and making it this far. Thank you for holding space for Mike and Vanessa's story. And these people are real. You always want to think before you make those choices, because you, the recipient, own all the legal and physical risk, and you think that it won't happen to you until it does. Thank you for watching Shot Callers. I am Carrie Bigford, the Outreach Director with Texans for Vaccine Choice. I'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to the Shot Callers podcast. Please, if you found value in this content, rate us and share the podcast with a friend. It's a great way to get the message out and to empower everyone to make informed decisions. Until next time, never forget, we are the Shot Callers.